Welcome back to the Fifth Year Podcast. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on all platforms. For those of you that aren't aware, this is our first episode on YouTube. We're already on Apple and Spotify, so you can subscribe on YouTube as well. Subscribe below. We've got a fun episode ahead. We're really pleased to be joined by George Stoia of the Denver Gazette. He covers the Denver Broncos. He's a friend of the podcast. We're going to give him a little break from talking NFL to talk some college football. George, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, guys, this is super exciting. My favorite podcast, up there with Unofficial 40. I don't know if you guys are fans of that. I think
Big fan.
Clint and Zach, you guys are OSU grads, right? Or Clint?
No, I would tell you.
I'm
okay. Good.
So I've seen that podcast, but
I'm actually wearing their hat. I don't know if you can see on the YouTube here. Sooner Scoop.
No free ads, George. No free ads. But
oh yeah, sorry.
No. I love Sooner Scoop. We can do free ads.
But yeah, this is like my favorite college football podcast. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're getting to that point of the year. We're getting to the season, but in this current era of college football, it's kind of a gift that keeps on giving. We keep having more stuff to talk about in July, which is nice. Like right before this, we got there was a tweet from Brett McMurphy. He apparently was talking to Kevin Warren, the Big Ten commissioner, and he told McMurphy there's only a handful of schools besides Notre Dame that would add value to the conference, and Action Network's reporting that Cal, Stanford, Washington, Oregon, then Miami and Florida State are the schools being considered. So just any initial reactions to those being potential
Can you say them again?
The Big Ten. Yeah. So the Pac-12 schools, the non-surprising ones, Oregon and Washington, and then Stanford and Cal, and then Miami and Florida State.
I don't feel like wouldn't they have told Oregon and Washington earlier though?
I think they're just waiting on Notre Dame, and then eventually we'll decide.
Am I crazy?
Get to an even number.
Am I crazy, or do you guys think Stanford's going to have like an actual football team in 10 years? Like, I feel like they might pull the plug.
I think my bold take is I think Stanford's going to be the Big Ten.
If they get Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think that's
Notre Dame needs one of those rivalries.
And the Big Ten loves, that high horse about their academics.
I hate that Cal just gets like roped in also because they suck at everything. They're so bad.
If the Big Ten adds Cal, that would be a joke.
That one hurts.
But since they're close, it wouldn't be the most surprising thing. But college football is dead if Miami and Florida State were in the Big Ten.
It's already dead.
Yeah.
I mean, the quicker we get to like a 64 team league, like basically minor league football, like I think that the better. I mean, like it sucks. Like especially, I feel like this group here. I mean, I know you pretty well, Parker, but I feel like you guys too would agree that like it sucks. This is happening. Like to see all these changes. Like I love the old Big 12. Like I hated when Colorado, Nebraska, Missouri, and A&M all left because I loved playing those teams and like the conference was just so much more fun. But I do think now that we're in this area where like these teams are jumping to conferences, like just get me to whatever like the end result is the quickest and like rip the Band-Aid off because like this is craziness. And think about that. Like think about if Oregon and Washington were in the same conference as Miami and Florida State. Like that's literally the two corners of the country. Like I don't like, it's just absurd to think about. And I mean, it'd be fun. Like the games would be great. Right. And I don't think like money is as big of an issue in terms of travel as it used to be, but like, it's just crazy to think about. But I think that in the end, like that's what it's heading to. It's like, there's gonna be like 60 teams and they're going to separate from all the other conferences and they're going to separate from the NCAA. And it's going to be their own league and they'll still be associated with the schools and everything. But like these guys are going to start getting paid lots of money and they're going to have their own league. Like that's the end result.
And then the divisions will be based on geographic location. Within this.
What a novel concept that is.
No, I agree though. Get to the end game and let's be done with it. And then fans can move on and get over it. But it definitely sucks.
I just feel bad for Oklahoma State because they'll probably not get to play in the big league.
Yeah, it sucks.
You know,
Another
we might.
I'm kidding. If there's 60 teams, they'll get in. Like they're
one would think, but sometimes I'm like, I don't know.
OSU is not going to be left out of
a 60-team league.
Yeah, that would be It would be OSU like though. I mean,
that'd be the worst like beat of all time, being like the 61st team, the first team out on a 60-team league. That would make me.
Yeah, and when Vanderbilt's in it.
What do you guys think in 7 years from now? What do you think it's going to be? Is it one huge, just no conferences, geographical stuff, or?
I think in the near future, and when I say near future, like next 10 years or so, I think there's going to be more expansion of conferences, and it's going to make no sense. There's going to be more, moves that don't make any sense geographically at some point. Like I agree with George, everything's going to split off from the NCAA, and when that happens, there could be a reshuffling, but that could take
only football though, right?
Only football.
Like basketball and all the other. I'm not saying basketball is not a non-revenue sport, but compared to football, all the other non-revenue sports will still be controlled by the NCAA.
Right. Well, that's the one. Basketball is the one money maker for the NCAA. It's off that NCAA tournament. They make billions of dollars off that
TV deal. That's the other thing too that's at play here with the Pac-12 is they're in the middle of trying to renegotiate a TV deal, and there's been a guy on Twitter that I had never heard of or seen before.
Is it John Wilner?
Is that the West Virginia guy?
Oh no.
Oh, some guy named MHVER3. This guy is. He's been on the beat the whole time, he claims, and he has sources out west everywhere in the country. And he said ESPN lowballed the Pac-12 today with an offer. Obviously, this is all alleged, but that guy, who knows? He thinks Notre Dame.
He's been money.
But yeah, he's been on so far. So like, I have no reason to not believe him. But at the same time, he's just some random account that came out of nowhere. But
yeah, he knows something though. I do know what you're talking about now. I did see the guy.
I mean, he's got threads like every night. He's talking about like Phil Knight eating dinner with like Big 12 commissioner, Big 10 commissioner, and also Phil Knight's meeting on behalf of Stanford as well, which is kind of interesting. Allegedly. I don't know.
I love college football, man. I could sit here and talk about college football. Like I know I just a minute ago said like I hate to see it change like this. But like the fact that this is like going on is just like the most college football thing ever. And like can we cuss on this?
Yes. Oh yeah, go for it.
The like shit talking between like teams and conferences, especially like going back all these years where like all these conferences would shit on other conferences and then they leave for those conferences years later. It's just hilarious to me. And it's great.
SEC.
Yeah, yes.
SEC.
How about A&M? I think A&M is a perfect example. Like A&M is a perfect example. They're like, oh yeah, like the Big 12 sucks. It's like, dude, you were in the Big 12 for like 20 years and you didn't win anything. Yeah. So like, what are you talking about?
Good.
Well, hey, Colorado might be crawling back to the Big 12.
Repent.
I love Colorado.
They're gonna come kiss the ring.
I will tell you though.
I do too.
Living out here, these people give zero shits about Colorado football. Zero. Like they do not care.
Well, I could be wrong, but isn't like not most of Colorado's student base, but like you do see a decent amount of like West Coast, like Southern California kids that come to Colorado just because it's good.
I mean, somewhat, but like now those kids are going to, USC, UCLA, Arizona State. Like I think that's where Colorado, and I don't want to like get into the depths of Colorado recruiting, but I do think that's like part of the issue is like they haven't been able to land some of those West Coast kids that I think they thought they were going to land when they left for the Pac-12. Because like they used to like be able to recruit Texas really well. Like they recruited the hell out of Texas, and now that they're not in the Big 12, they're not recruiting Texas at all. So I mean, I think that, again, I don't want to get into Colorado football, but I think that's the issue there.
They do have some great jerseys.
Yeah. They have a great campus. Like you would think you'd be able to recruit.
Awesome.
Everyone says it's a great place to watch a game.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, you can sit wherever.
It's crazy to think that they won a national title in 1990.
Are they the last blue blood, or wasn't there one after them?
Georgia Tech, and I think it was Georgia Tech and Colorado split.
Or last non-blue blood to win a national title.
Yeah, right.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Is Auburn a blue blood?
Oh, that's a good point.
Is Florida State a blue blood?
Yeah, those are both.
Florida State is. No, Florida State is. Bobby Bowden.
Auburn's not though. Auburn's not.
I was watching the U and the other day, and they were talking about the rivalry between Miami and Florida State, and some of those stats they were reading off about Bobby Bowden's teams, like ridiculous how good he was for so long as a coach there.
Is Nebraska blue blood? I mean, they were.
Yes.
But
yeah,
I don't know. They're
like, if you're they're like top 7 or 8 in all-time wins, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Who's more dead though, Nebraska or Texas? Like I hate to go off on a tangent.
Nebraska. Texas can, because of who they are, where they are, at any point, if they could just figure out
how
not to implode.
I think they're going to be good as well. So
yeah,
I'm not saying they're going to win the national championship. I don't even know if they'll win the Big 12.
I think they'll win 9 games, but like for Texas, that's a step in the right direction. They'll take that. I mean, Sark might not, and his 40 bosses might not, but I think the realistic fans would take that.
No doubt.
Yeah, just don't lose to Kansas.
God, that was awesome.
Another interesting tidbit that came out of Big Ten Media Days is a quote from Gene Smith, Ohio State athletic director, mentioning that, in quotes, 16 just seems to be out there. You can't ignore it. And that comes off Greg Sankey, SEC commissioner, saying something similar about 16 teams now being floated around. Thoughts on 16 versus the 12 that we've kind of been expecting at some point in the future?
16 team playoff.
Yeah.
I think it's too many. I just you guys know too, you guys watch college football every year. The reality is there's like maybe 2 teams that could win the national championship. So and I feel like since they've added the playoff, while I would love to have more football and I'm for that, the reality is the best teams have played for the national championship every single year that they've had the playoff. It's worked, right? So now have there been a couple of years that the 4th seed maybe should have been a different team, maybe, but I don't think that would have changed the result on who won the national championship. So I mean, I think 16 is way too many. I think 8 to 10 to 12. I think 12 is the max you can have, just because otherwise you're getting too many teams in there. But I don't know. I mean,
there are 3 teams that can win the national championship in college football right now. Or 4. Yeah. Clemson, Ohio State, Bama, Georgia. Those are the 4 right now that can actually go win a national title.
It's funny you say 8 though, because I remember when they first did the playoff, what were we? Probably that was 2014,
2015.
2015 first year.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm thinking, they could do 8 and basically do the 5 Power 5 conference champions, and then the 3 just at-large bids who they vote on. Obviously, that's not an option anymore. So 16, although it would mean more football, which is never a bad thing, probably too many. 12 seems like a sweet spot though.
I agree. 12 is fine. I'm not even a huge fan of getting to that large of a playoff because I don't think it really matters. Like you said, there's a handful of teams actually that can win it all, but I'm not going to complain about extra playoff games.
You still got to play the games though. Football is a little less dramatic in terms of giant upsets like that. And big, March Madness, a 1 seed has lost now. We know that, but football, they still have to play. The odds of the 16 seed in college football playoff beating Alabama, I guess, is pretty slim to none, but you never know.
So how would that work schedule wise though? Because that's 4 weeks.
They'd have to play that's the other thing too. They'd either have to start because they have to. I don't think they have to be playing during the school year, but kids going into second semester playing. I don't think. I could be wrong on that, but it would push everything back. You'd probably have to get rid of a 1 non-conference game, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I guess there is a long break though until the college football playoffs, so maybe just play through January or December. They're
not the NCAA or college football is not gonna feel as bad about giving these players a couple extra weeks of games when they're making money. I really think that's gonna, you know what I mean? That takes away a little bit of that, student athlete thing. Oh, these guys, now that these guys are making, not all of them, but a lot of them are making some money. I don't think that decision makers would feel as bad about adding a game. Although I think you should eliminate a game. I don't think they need to be playing 16 games, but 17 or even more than that.
That's the thing about the NFL too, though, is every time they go to these these labor disputes and Players Association is we don't want to add any more games. And the NFL is well, we'll give you X amount for 1 more game. Then they quickly change their minds. It's okay, yeah, we can play 1 more.
Yeah.
My problem with the playoff is not how many teams are in it. It's the committee. I just don't like the process. Like they can never decide on like what they value most. And I thought Saban, I think it was Saban who talked about it at SEC Media Days. Like they should just bring back the BCS. Like,
the issue with the BCS was not the system. It was that there was just two
Sometimes,
teams
like,
and teams are getting
ties,
mad.
yeah.
right.
When
Like
you're
if you're
letting
gonna,
12 teams in, who cares? Let the computer just decide. who gets in.
exactly. That's my point. It's like, I don't care how many teams you put in it. Like just get rid of the committee. And like, they have people on the committee that like are just morons. Like it doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever.
And the BCS was a way cooler trophy.
Yes.
Yeah.
was.
Phenomenal
was.
trophy. The new trophy sucks compared to that one.
Yeah, the crystal ball is great. Well, I think the crystal ball is actually the coach's trophy. I think you still get it. They just don't like present it.
Oh, that's not as cool. They should present that one.
Yeah. So I think they still get it. It's just not like presented to them on the field.
Interesting.
Any other did anyone like any thoughts on the Big Ten in general before we move on any teams or Ohio State was a unanimous pick to win. Not surprising.
Interesting. It is interesting to me though that they didn't mention in that they're poaching like Virginia and North Carolina, because I think you and I talked about it. We figured that would be like they'll be a big target for them in the SEC. So it's weird to see the Big Ten not want any part.
Yeah,
of
I'm
it.
surprised. Like Miami is more. I would have thought the Big Ten would have preferred, those two over Miami at least. Maybe not Florida State, but none of it makes sense. So,
but Miami brings in a lot of money. I mean, Miami, like as much as they've sucked, and like, I mean, I don't know a lot about the people there, but I'm guessing they're like not the best people either. But like, Miami brings in a ton of money. So, I mean, I think Miami and North Carolina are going to end up in the SEC. That's my prediction. But
also, I guess maybe so they mentioned 2 ACC schools. I thought the ACC can't do anything. They're locked.
I know that's the thing. I don't know.
Does that really matter though
so
with all these
yeah.
moving parts?
That's the other thing.
It will as long as, but the ACC is all together. There's all these moving parts except for the ACC.
Well,
so.
they have a terrible contract, right? Like they're like stuck for like 15 years.
Yeah, until 2036.
Is that
with their grant of rights?
Stuck as in TV deal?
It's like a grant of
ESPN,
rights deal.
Yeah, ESPN.
And no one's broken one of those. So, yeah, I mean, people have bought their way out of it, but you can't. 15 years would cost way too much money. So
no school's paying that.
Yeah,
unless you have like Phil Knight as a donor. But
That's,
I don't think that was I don't think the Pac-12 had that either. I think they had some sort of other distribution plan.
Yeah. My other just random thought on Big Ten is I think Nebraska might surprise people this year. It's a kind of a hot take, but I started looking at their schedule. I was watching some of the Big Ten Media Day stuff, watching Scott Frost interview, and Nebraska typically, it seems, has gotten pretty screwed by the Big Ten when it comes to scheduling. Like they'll end up with at Wisconsin, at Iowa, Ohio State at home. But I think this season I think they might go in 8 or 9 games. I mean, they've got the OU game, but the rest of their non-conference is a joke. They start out week 0 with Northwestern. They also have North Dakota and Georgia Southern. And then this is the beginning of their Big Ten schedule: at Rutgers, at Purdue, Illinois at home, Minnesota at home. Like 4 games they probably should win, although it is Nebraska, so they might not. And then they go the finishing 3 are tough: at Michigan, Wisconsin at home, and at Iowa. But I don't know. I'd be shocked if Nebraska doesn't win 8 games next year.
How many to win to keep his job?
I would say 8 games.
There's also so many close games last year. It was insane.
Yeah, they were like the best 3-9 team ever or something.
Yeah.
What's their over under, like odds wise?
If I had to guess, it's 6.5 or so. Let me check.
I might take the over. I hadn't looked at their schedule yet. That's an interesting schedule.
Casey Thompson is definitely an upgrade at quarterback, correct?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if definitely, but I think it's a slight upgrade.
I will say I think he's an upgrade, but I think Adrian Martinez might be an upgrade for Kansas State. I think Kansas State might be good.
I always liked Skylar Thompson though. He could just never stay healthy. Like once in his career, he played one good game and then like break his collarbone.
Yeah, 7.5 for Nebraska is what I'm seeing.
Okay, I don't know if I'd.
That's a sketch. Yeah, that's a sketchy number.
Yeah, that's a good number.
If it was 6.5, I would probably take the over, but.
Yeah.
it's also Nebraska. Like, who knows? Like, they could lose to Northwestern week 1.
Yeah, no, that is definitely a possibility.
Pat Fitzgerald had a
Ireland,
good
right?
today too. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
in Dublin, Ireland.
Yeah.
The total was 51.5.
Like, didn't they play like Illinois last year in week 0 and like they
lost?
they had like 4 fumbles or something
It
ridiculous.
was embarrassing. It was like
Yeah.
watching a JV high school game. It was bad.
And people were like, "Oh, Illinois might be good," and it was like, actually, no,
No.
both teams are horrible.
Yeah, Illinois is
Yeah, no, I think one of
dumpster fire.
our first ever episodes was we did a preview for the Nebraska-Illinois game on
Week 0.
Scott Ritchie, great guest, really
Yep.
good rider for out of Champaign, but man, he'd be more fun to talk hoops with, I think.
Week 0, Illinois plays again this year. I think they know it's their only way to get eyeballs on the program because they keep doing it.
I love Brett
Who do they
Bielema,
play?
though.
They play Wyoming at home. They're probably going to lose. I don't know anything about Wyoming.
I don't know. I'm all aboard Brett Bielema trend.
Really?
Yeah, I love the guy.
Funny story. I spoke to Brett a couple months ago for a story I wrote on Russell Wilson here in Denver, and I asked him how he's feeling about the season. He said he feels really good. He thinks it's one of the more talented teams he's coached. Now I know like that's just coach speak, but
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, all right then. So maybe Illinois might be good.
Was he a good interview?
Oh, he's great, fantastic. I mean, he was like immediately get back to me, like he was awesome and like gave me some really good stuff. So
That's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
he has a good time in Cabo. I don't know if you guys have seen those pictures before.
yes, yeah.
A better
he's
time than Jim McElwain. Wasn't that the Florida coach's name?
Oh yeah.
Caught that
McElwain.
shark. Yeah, caught that shark.
Yeah, that picture is amazing.
He said
It looks
wasn't
exactly
him.
like him.
No, he said he claims it's not him to this
Yeah.
day. So.
Yeah.
It's him.
I was looking at the schedule today during lunch, and man, week 1, Notre Dame at Ohio State, 6:30.
Yeah, and 2:30 is Georgia, Oregon.
So it's funny. That might be the day I drive up to Rochester to move. And so I told my dad that I was like, if you're wanting to stop in Columbus still, that might be an issue because Ohio State's playing Notre Dame that
You should
Saturday.
just stop and go to the game.
No, I think that might be
Yeah.
on the table.
That'd
I've
be
never been
awesome.
to that stadium. It looks. I actually was watching. It's how bored I get during the day. I was watching the game. Baker went up there and just lit Ohio State up. For like what 300 yards, 3 touchdowns.
It was amazing.
He looked so. I forgot how good he was in that game, and then how bad on the flip JT Barrett was.
It was so shocking that I was there, and the Ohio State fans, George, I'm sure you were there too.
Yeah, it was.
They were just in disbelief.
Hey, Mark Stoops, say what you want about the guy. He shut him down that night. He had a great
Mark,
same difference. He was unbelievable.
Well, they had a
JT Barrett was playing not that
He
great
played bad.
either.
He played
right,
bad.
but also like, and I like Mike a lot. Like I was actually a Mike Stoops defender until after that OU Texas game in 2018. I wrote a column. I was like, they gotta fire Mike Stoops. But
Get him out of here.
like I didn't think his like schematics were the problem, but like they had that defense was talented. Like they had
Oh yeah.
they had Oboe,
Stephen Parker,
who was fantastic, Jinx legend. Who were the corners on that
I
team?
think Parnell Motley had 2 picks that game.
Sanchez or
or
is
one
he-
and he
No,
dropped
Sanchez
it
was
was-
gone
It was like Jordan Thomas before
Yeah.
he was horrible.
before he became a head case.
Yes.
He had a great freshman year.
And who was the other safety next to Steven? It was like, was it
Ahmad Thomas.
Yeah.
Ahmad Thomas, who was
He was
really
good.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was good.
Like they had some talent on that team.
Also, that receiving core though he was throwing to that year, it was like it's not like CD. Obviously, we know who he is now, but he was just a freshman. Like Jeff Badet was the other guy. Like
Jeff
I
Badet.
think Lee Morris caught a touchdown in that game.
Lee Morris had a huge year that season.
Yeah.
Lee Morris is also
but
a
at the
great
same
guy.
time, he's former walk-on, right? Like
Yeah.
Baker wasn't throwing to those just superstars that year. Like he
Mark
just went up
Andrews, a
there-
tight end though.
Yeah, that guy's a dude.
I will say he's not throwing to superstars, but like
They're still
I
at
think,
OU.
what's the statistic out there? It's like of the 11 starters on that offense, like 8 of them are still in the NFL.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
that's
all
pretty
are
crazy.
now.
No,
I know
everyone
the Rose
except
Bowl
for
year.
everyone but Flowers, I think, is in the league
Yeah,
still.
which
And
is like
he had a big
so
game
surprising.
that game.
Yeah, well, like it
Yeah.
was so good.
Yeah.
But I just forgot how he just absolutely dominated. the
I thought they were
second
going to win the national championship. When they won that game, I was like, they might make
Yeah.
a run.
Then they lost that Iowa State game like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
half. I was with Clint when that happened. It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
We were at the Jinx
Senior
alumni
day.
baseball game, and Joel Lanning was marching down
he
the
was
field.
awesome. Yeah, he was
It
great.
actually
The
was
fact
really
that-
cool because he was playing both ways that game and just like going Hulk mode on either side of the ball.
The fact that OU lost and it was like the second inning of a senior game at our alumni high school.
Clint just had to sit there and eat
I
it.
want to leave. I just want to leave.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering why he wasn't at the game. He's like, we're going to beat him.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe it was me.
Your fan card is a question, Clint, for not watching that game and going to the.
Oh, hey,
I never skip a game.
Jinx Trojans, you got to go back and support the crew. All right.
I never skip a game against Iowa State nowadays.
Only no, you would now you would skip that alumni. The second Jinx baseball got rid of Danny Morgan.
Yeah. Shout out Coach Morgan
as well.
Yeah.
All right. Big Ten. I think that's enough Big Ten talk. Just really briefly, ACC Pac-12 media days are going on. I saw Clemson was the pick to be, but NC State was picked second, and the gap wasn't as big as you would have necessarily expected. So, and then Miami is picked to win the other division. So, not surprising that Clemson is the pick there. Let's before we wrap up with another draft like we did last week, let's talk a little bit of Broncos since we've got training camp starting up tomorrow. I saw you were at press conferences today. What's the overall vibe out of Denver Broncos training camp?
Expectations are very high. There's a lot of, obviously fans are excited because of Russell Wilson and, a new head coach and Nathaniel Hackett. I think this is a playoff team. I really do. I think that they're finally I think it's been 6 years. They haven't made the playoffs since they won the Super Bowl. And I think this is the year that they're going to get it done. The problem is they're in what I consider the best division in football in the 100%. AFC West. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And they could easily finish third or fourth and still make the playoffs somehow. And that's very realistic. I think the Chiefs are still going to be very good. I don't think they'll be as good. I think losing Tyreek Hill is going to be a big problem for them. But then the Chargers, I really like the Chargers. I think they're going to be really good this year. I felt like last year was that year before the year that they're really, really good. And then the Raiders, I know everybody's crapping on the Raiders, but they were a playoff team last year and they hung
interim coach too.
Yeah. And they had, the Bengals on the ropes in the playoff game. And then, they go out and they get the best wide receiver in football. They're going to be really tough to beat.
And Chandler Jones too on the defensive side.
Right. And I don't know if I trust Josh McDaniels, and obviously he has a history here in Denver of just totally failing, but that was a long time ago. So it's going to be a really fun season. I think the Broncos are going to be good. I think Russell Wilson's going to have a great year. I think he's really going to thrive in this offensive system that Hackett's, running, and obviously ran with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. And then you just have a bunch of guys that have prove it seasons for the Broncos. Jerry Jeudy is a guy that I think coming out of college, everyone thought this guy is going to be incredible in the NFL. And he just hasn't, he's been good, but he just hasn't been great or he hasn't lived up to expectations yet. So it's a big year for him. Bradley Chubb out of NC State, he was the 5th pick overall a few years ago. He's in a contract year. He can't stay healthy. So it's a big year for him. They go out, they get Randy Gregory, who's obviously had a ton of issues throughout his career. So it's going to be a really fun and interesting season. They go to London, so I'm looking forward to that trip. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. The expectations are incredibly high, though. It's a totally different feel. Where last year you go to those press conferences before training camp, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we really believe in Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater," and you're like, "Okay, yeah." It's a lot easier when they get up there, "Yeah, we have Russell Wilson now," and it's okay, yeah, they should be good, So. It should be fun, and I'm excited for training camp, even though it's hell, man. It's 2 straight weeks of every single day, 2 to 3 hours of practice, and there's 90 guys, and you're keeping track of all of them. But it's also the best time of year. I'm tired of sitting at home and watching baseball highlights. You know?
Oh, it's
come on,
brutal right now.
Sports wise,
it's the worst.
To pick or prediction off the top of your head right now, how's that division shake out 1 through 4?
I'm going to pick the Chiefs until they lose the division. It's the same philosophy I had with Oklahoma, and people are who's going to win the Big 12? And I'm well, I'm just going to pick Oklahoma until they don't win. Right. I'm going to pick the Chiefs, even though I do think they won't be as good. I'm going to pick the Chargers second, Broncos third, Raiders 4th. But it really, you honestly, you could convince me any of the 4 teams could win. And like the winner could go 10-7, and like the second place team could also be 10-7, and like they just have like a head to head, over like it's going to be that close. And like the Broncos schedule's pretty difficult. Like they have to go to Tennessee. They go to Seattle, who I don't think Seattle's going to be any good, but it's week 1. It's Monday Night Football. Lots of emotions. Who knows? They have to go to the Ravens. Like they've got a really difficult schedule that they have to play. So they have the Cardinals at home, who I think the Cardinals are going to be pretty good this year. So like it's going to be really tough, to make the playoffs. But the division, man, I have no clue. I mean, if I had to guess though, it'd be Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders.
Yeah, I agree. You can't like knock Mahomes. That's the thing about it, is when I see people like say how much they love Josh Allen, or like Josh Allen's the one guy they'd start a franchise with. Patrick Mahomes is still like, he's still Patrick Mahomes. He's not going anywhere. He's still a dude.
He's been so good. I think that
We're like, no,
when he struggled a little bit early last year, people were like, oh, what's wrong with Patrick Mahomes? It's like, oh, he didn't throw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns
today.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, as a Steelers fan, I'm not excited to watch Juju in that offense. I think he's gonna have a good year. I mean, he's
TikTok boy,
not, in my opinion.
Nah,
TikTok boy.
I'm out on Juju.
Yeah, I'm out on him too. He's fat.
Cares too much. Who did the Chiefs draft that everybody was like, oh, he'll replace Tyreek Hill?
Justin Ross.
And he's out for the year.
Yeah. Or his ACL or something.
Yeah. They have Sky Moore also.
Oh, they also have from the Packers, 3 names. Valdez-Scantling.
MVS.
Yeah.
Look, they're going to be good. Like, as long as they have Patrick Mahomes, they're going to be good. And like Kelsey, Andy Reid is a really good football coach, and like he's like one of the most creative people. Like he's going to find ways to like make up for the loss of Tyreek Hill. So like they're still going to be good. I just don't know if they are going to be as good as they used to be.
Right.
I think that's fair to say.
They're getting rid of probably the most explosive player in the NFL.
He's a top 5 receiver too.
For sure.
Probably top 3.
The Chargers are the team that, like, if you're like, okay, if the Chiefs don't win it, who's it going to be? I would pick the Chargers, because I think, one, I believe in Brandon Staley, even though I don't always believe in his choice to go for it on 4th down.
Yeah.
I do believe in like a lot of what he's doing, and defensively, that was they weren't very good defensively at times last year, and they go out and they get a guy like Khalil Mack. And I think who'd they sign in the secondary that's really good?
JC Jackson, I think is his name.
Yes. Yeah. And then they signed Bryce Callahan from the Broncos, who was like good. A really underrated corner. So like they're going to be better defensively, and you have Herbert, who's like looked amazing at the end of the last season. I just think that they're going to be really good.
I could not have been more wrong on a guy than I was on Herbert. Cause like,
me too.
I'd watch Oregon highlights. I'm like, this kid's just a big kid with a big arm and like takes off every once in a while. That doesn't mean he's good. And then of course he torches in the NFL, but
now Tua is the most accurate quarterback in the NFL.
I'm in on Tua. I think Tua is going to have an awesome year this year, because they're like, if you go back and watch his Alabama highlights, it's a lot of deep balls to fast receivers. He's kind of got that now. He's got like burners. He can just,
I hope he's good.
I hope he's good too.
Yeah, I like
Tua. I like that. And the Dolphins just have like cool jerseys.
Every offseason in NFL, there's a few guys where I just never heard that they changed teams, and I did not realize Ronald Jones is on the Chiefs now, backing up Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's a solid.
Chiefs fans don't like. Chiefs fans don't. Well, my buddy who's a Chiefs fan doesn't like Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, well,
so
I didn't like him as a fantasy owner last year.
He hasn't really done much.
They got to bring back Damian Williams.
They need to bring back Darwin Thompson.
Definitely.
They want to Super
Damian Williams. He got screwed. What Super Bowl was that?
He should have been MVP.
He should have been MVP of that Super Bowl
against the Niners.
Yes. Yeah, and Darwin also should have scored. They didn't even review it. The guy
gave it to him at like the half-yard line.
The plane, and they didn't even look at it.
I was like, "Holy shit!"
I had Mahomes' first touchdown though, so the next play was like the bootleg, and I was cheering pretty loud.
All right,
you mentioned the
Cardinals. I have another
Broncos
question, George.
Oh,
yeah, hit me.
So I've been doing a lot of mock drafts lately. It's a little fantasy question. How are you feeling about Javonte Williams with Gordon as the backup? You think he's going to be Javonte is going to be the clear one, or
he's going to be the one? But I think they're going to do exactly what they did last year, pretty much. Maybe Javonte gets a little bit more carries. Like, I'm pretty sure I think the statistics are that him and Melvin had the exact same amount of carries last year. I don't think it'll be like that, but I don't think it's going to be like, 50 more carries. Like, I think it's going to be more like maybe 20 more carries. And the other thing that they really like to do, or at least they did last year, and of course they have a new coaching staff, so maybe they changed it up, is Melvin. They loved giving Melvin the ball in the red zone. Like he was their end zone running back, which made very little sense to me, which is probably why Pat Shurmur was fired. Because like Javonte Williams is like, he breaks every tackle. So that's the guy you'd want to give it to on the goal line. So maybe that changes this year. And he scores more touchdowns, but like Melvin does have a really good nose for the end zone. Like he has throughout his career. You look at his touchdown numbers, they're always like one of the highest in the leagues among running backs. So like, I'm not saying don't draft Javonte, but I saw some people are like, he's got to be the first running back off the board. No, I wouldn't do that. Is he going to be really good and put up some solid numbers every week? Probably, but like, I don't think he's like your number one fantasy running back, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a hard pick too, because he's like top maybe 11 or 12 running back. So it's like a second rounder. It's pretty risky second rounder, but he is really good. I mean, he shows flashes that clear number one. Without Melvin, he probably would be.
But I would also say, I wouldn't totally discount like them maybe trading Melvin Gordon in the middle of the season. Like I'm not saying they're going to do that, and maybe it's a very low possibility, but like, let's say Javonte is just having a great year and the Broncos, like somebody else gets hurt and they need to make a trade for, a player at a different position. Yeah. Like I think Melvin would be the first one on the block, because like there's a lot of teams around the league that I think you could easily convince to take, like a good team that's like trying to make a push, and maybe, and we see it all the time, like teams are losing running backs left and right throughout the year. And you could make a trade, and they have some depth there at that position. So I don't think they would, be crazy to trade Melvin like mid-season.
Yeah.
You OU guys, what did you real quick think of the clause in Kyler's contract? He's got to watch 4 hours of independent film study a week. I didn't know Kyler was
my
in the
thing.
film.
That was a
My
tough
first
look
thought.
for Kyler.
I didn't know that was
if
a thing.
If you're guaranteeing a guy 160 million, you have to tell him to watch 4 hours of film a week.
That seems bad.
I think he needs to get off Twitch. Maybe
they think he's a child, is what that
Yeah.
means. Like,
it's like,
I mean, he did show up to the OU College World Series game in pajama pants. So
did you guys
maybe
see
they're
the
comfort?
Did you guys see the chart that somebody put out that was like Kyler Murray's performance versus like when the new Call of Duty came out last year? And it was like this chart, like the line just like goes down, like as like Call of Duty comes out and the line left of his performance just like goes down. I'm like, oh,
it's
my
like
God.
it's like the James Harden strip club
Yeah.
performance in each city, like based off their.
I want to know how do
ratio.
they keep track of that? Like if he's doing independent study, like does he have to be in the facility and they're like, okay, that's 1 hour for the week? Like
he clocks in and clocks out.
Yeah.
There's
He has
like,
to
it's one of
record
those
himself
Proctor
watching
websites, like in college. You have to like show your video camera that no distractions, because it really does say that. It says like with no distractions. I don't know.
They catch him in there playing COD.
That contract is also interesting because Lamar is due, and I'm of the belief Lamar is better. I guess you could say either one. I mean, they're both.
Kyler's just such a better passer. Like, he can throw the ball.
So can Lamar. Lamar throws to nobody. You guys got to keep that in mind. Like,
but
there's a reason he's
first round MLB draft pick.
There's a reason there aren't receivers flooding to Baltimore.
I think we're gonna find out, because if Hollywood has a great season, Marquise Brown has a great season.
Like, even comparison.
But also with Hollywood now, he's got DeAndre Hopkins on the other side versus who I can't even name another Ravens receiver.
Oh, he had Mark Andrews. Having a top 3 tight end is worth
and the
something.
Cardinals have Zach Ertz, but like
I love Lamar too, by the way, but I would also take.
No, I think Lamar's a top 6-7 quarterback in the NFL. I just think Kyler's a little bit.
Yeah, I think Lamar's really good, but
like
prove all your.
I'm not opposed to the.
I'm a huge Lamar fan.
I could be swayed to thinking Lamar is better too. It's that small of a gap.
The problem in Arizona isn't the quarterback, in my opinion. It's
Cliff.
the fact that
Cliff Kingsbury is their head coach.
Yes, they hired a head coach who couldn't win at Texas Tech, like
with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, what are we talking about? Like, this is ridiculous.
He literally couldn't even get a defense together to hold a team to like 45 and win a game. Like, they were losing shootouts with Patrick Mahomes. It's insane. I know. The wild thing is too, he was about to be just like settle and be the offensive coordinator at USC or something.
Yeah.
And then Arizona's like, wait, we have an idea. And they hire this terrible head coach.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the best was after Lincoln left for USC. Is Schefter out here tweeting that Cliff was a candidate for the OU job.
That's OU fans. If I was an OU fan, I would not have stopped laughing as an OSU fan. If I was an OU fan, I would not have stopped crying because
that would be an insane move.
He admitted after he got the Cardinals job, they asked him like the worst part about college football. He said, "Oh, I hate recruiting." It's like that's the best. That's like the biggest part of college football is recruiting, and your head coach hated doing it.
I could see that though.
So
of
mad
course, he hates recruiting. He just seems like that.
I mean, he's got bottle service to get to.
Yeah,
bottle the blonde in Dallas.
Right.
Literally.
Good for Cliff though. He's had a hell of a life.
You see that house and that picture of him sitting on the couch with his feet propped up? He's
Yeah, no, I'm jealous of the guy. Very jealous.
Pro scammer.
All right. Let's wrap this thing up. Let's do another. We did a snake draft last week of best fight songs. Clint, what do we got this week?
Yeah, we got best college football traditions. I already did an order, and the order is Clint, George, Parker, Zach.
George should get to go first. He's the guest. So switch you and George.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. George, fire away.
I have to pick the first one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Unless you want to trade back and let Clint pick, then I guess you could do that.
No, and I also didn't prepare as well as I should have. So I have like a article that has like 30 of them. So I don't run out of options here. Man, I could go in so many different directions, but I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with I don't know what the name of the horse is, but when Florida, and this should be, there's a caveat to this. This is only when Florida State is good, but when they run out and they're at home, yes, Osceola, the horse runs out and he throws the spear down. That
flaming spear. When that's a big game, I think they do a flaming spear.
There is nothing like it, like I remember when OU played there in 2011, 2012, something like that. And it was a top 5 matchup at the time. And both teams went on to like not be good. But like when that went out, it was like, it's an electric moment. So I'm going to go with whatever you said. I can't pronounce his name.
Osceola.
Osceola.
I
had that on the list.
Yeah, that's
cool.
That's the only reason I remember.
I don't know if it's number one.
I don't know.
No, it's really cool. I bet it's electric to watch.
Yeah. That's a fine first pick. Nothing crazy about it.
All right.
I also don't want to get like canceled. Like I know there's been a lot of talk about like the
chop.
It's a chop.
How come some teams like aren't allowed to do it, and then like the Chiefs and the Braves are?
Well, I think theirs aren't like as they're Chief or Braves like kind of cool. An Indian like that's just kind of. And I'm not for canceling these team names, but just the Indians. That one.
So I know. I love the team name. I love the team name Guardians. I think it's cool. Like once you learn the actual meaning of why they're the Guardians, it's cool.
Maybe
I've taken zero time to learn up on.
I'm definitely gonna get canceled off this podcast.
And they're good. The Guardians are.
All right.
Clint.
Round 1, pick 2. I really want to take one, and I hope it comes back to me in round 2. But I'm going with Lee Corso's headgear pick as my first pick.
It's actually a really good one.
I didn't think about that.
I didn't think about that one
straight
either.
Teams.
Dude, that's really good.
Wow, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Is it me or Parker?
It is Parker.
All right. I'm going with that 8 a.m. beer at OU, Texas. Show up to the Cotton Bowl with an all-time hangover. You're there 8:30 if you're a real one. Like if you can handle yourself. And you get a Fletcher's corny dog and a cold beer in a wax cup. And it's you're suddenly revived. There's nothing quite
I've never been to that game. Is it really all they say it is?
It is.
Yes.
Dude, this is my thing about OU Texas. There is not a greater 5 seconds in sports than when the Texas band comes marching into the Oklahoma section and they and everybody just lets them have it for like 5 seconds.
And they bring up.
I mean, there's literally like you literally crap your pants. You're like, this is the most incredible atmosphere I've ever been in my entire life.
I love that they play it in that same shithole stadium.
Yes, and I
Cotton
hope it
Bowl
never
is
changes.
nasty. It sucks. Like that stadium.
Oh yeah, it's a gross stadium.
I love that they run out of the same tunnel. And then on good years, sometimes it kind of bleeds on TV. Like you go back and watch old ones, but like it's crimson one side, other side.
And it splits at the 50, which I think is cooler than splitting in the end zone. Yeah, and really also, like George talked about, when Texas comes out of that tunnel, and then those they have to have those tarps go up on the fence. So the
Yeah.
people, the OU fans, because the OU's in that end zone where the tunnel is, aren't like throwing shit at the Texas players.
It's really cool.
And when the Texas bus or the OU bus comes in and like the opposing teams, like you see like a 12-year-old kid flip off the Texas bus.
I
It's
remember
awesome.
one year, Parker and I were walking out together of the OU Texas, and I think Parker almost got in like 3 fights with Texas fans. Like they're just mouthing off Texas fight.
We might
Parker.
Texas fight is a better fight song though, as we established last week.
Oh yeah, I mean, they also have better uniforms in my opinion. Like
Does
Texas.
you-
Oh,
hate
wow,
admitting that
George.
out loud. No,
Wow.
dude, I loved. I
Texas
do
is
like
all
It's a
white. Texas is all white uniforms with the white
clean.
helmet.
I
Woo,
guess
good.
so.
yeah.
They really get
like
over the burn
Texas
orange,
Fight's
though.
a good fight song too, but I hate it. But it's a good
Oh,
fight song.
OU would gain more points in the jersey department with me if they ditched the stupid
Riders?
ones forever. Those are, and you guys like
Yeah,
lose every time you
I
wear
agree.
them. So I don't
I
get why
agree.
They're
you're
horrible. They're horrible.
All OU fans, and also like every OU fan thinks every time they wear the Rough Riders, oh, they're gonna lose. And
Yeah.
actually, I
They
think they
normally
actually
do. It feels like
no, actually, I think they like somebody put out like Sooner
It's
Trap.
like an insanely good
They
record.
probably lost one.
They're actually,
you know?
yeah, they've like never lost in the uniforms. Like Kyler Murray's year, they wore them in the Big 12 championship game just because like they were superstitious about it. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels off every time they wear them.
Yeah,
I
like
need to go. I need to go to that game though. I need to see it. I don't know.
I'm against alternate uniforms in general, but if you're gonna have one, like
So you hate
make it
like,
look cool.
You hate Oklahoma State's uniforms?
I like OSU's tradition. I like the Barry Sanders era white uniforms, like that helmet.
I like the old OSU.
The old
the-
80s brand on it.
Yeah, like I think those are cool uniforms.
Is it
All
me?
right, really.
Speaking of OSU, my number one tradition, OSU making me sad. Happens once,
Wow,
twice,
round
3,
one.
4 times a year, sometimes 5. Last
Hey, you
year it
guys
only
were
happened
You
twice,
guys were 1 yard away.
though. Should have seen me after that. I got better last year. I'd say it's easier to like forget the losses when there's like only like 2 a year. It like makes it way easier to not be as upset after the game when you're winning every other weekend. That Baylor game though was brutal. I had plans. I went to Texas Live before the game with my friends. Got into the game. I've never been confident about an OSU game in my life. Walking into a stadium, I was cocky. I was so cocky. We were gonna just beat their ass. Got out of the game. Drove back to Arlington. I was so upset. I drove back to Tulsa that night. I didn't stay.
I probably wouldn't
Kind of
have either.
But OSU making me sad is my number one.
All right, really, you're back up.
You could have saved that one for the last round.
I could.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody
3
did
OU
take that. I
grads
had
on
to
the
just
line
make
here.
that my number
You
one.
guys are coming up with like traditions that I didn't even think about. Like I was thinking like straight pure team traditions. So like
Well, George,
Hey,
my list-
anything
my
works,
list,
George.
my
You
list
said you
is
pulled
gonna
up an
suck.
article of traditions, so we know you didn't think outside the box here.
Okay, well, I'll go.
Or
with
just over
the-
there reading a Bleacher Report or something.
Yeah.
I am.
I'll go with another one, and I hate picking them because actually I'm not going to do it just out of principle. I'm going to go with Clemson and like the Howard's Rock thing. Like,
Oh
remember
my
that
gosh, it's
that
so
game?
lame.
No, it's not. It's cool. That time ESPN like took them. You got on the bus with the team, and they like drive up the hill, and then you go. They ran down. Do you guys remember that game? They did that. It was a college game day. It was some
The
Saturday
Louisville
night.
game? Was it the
Yeah,
game when they-
with Lamar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that guy didn't dive for the. Oh, see, I'm Lamar defender. That guy didn't dive. I'm still mad at whoever that receiver was. But I think
Yeah.
Howard's Rock is cool.
No,
and
yeah,
it's
it's a
from
fair
the
pick.
actual Death. It's from the actual Death Valley in California.
Yeah, passing by and just like touching that rock is cool. Very cool.
It's only cool because Dabo like basically is about to do like a front flip down the hill.
All right, Parker. All you.
I'll
After your
go.
8 a.m. beer, OU Texas, great pick.
That
What's
is a
round
really
two?
good pick.
That
It
was a
is.
phenomenal pick.
Thank you.
I
Thank
can't
you.
relate, but I'm sure it's good.
I'll go with the Army Navy game and specifically winner singing second.
I had that. That was on. It was on the tip of my tongue.
That's on
Like-
my list.
The watching the losing team go sing their fight song, and then after taking a loss to your arch rival, watch the other team sing the winning team sing theirs. That's got to be brutal, but it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
It's
it
cool.
was on my list too. All right, my pick, round 2. What is this? 6th pick overall. I'm going with the West Virginia Country Roads. The whole stadium singing it.
Love
After
it.
wins. They
Yeah.
don't sing it after losses.
Oh, after wins, yeah. A Thursday night at like 10 p.m. West Virginia's rocking. Great tradition.
That is a good one.
I've got 2 in mind, but I'm
You
gonna
get
pick.
2.
I'm gonna
Me
pick
too.
one that literally makes me. Oh, I do get.
Yeah,
I do
because
get
you're on
two.
the
Yeah.
you're on
Yeah.
this end of the snake.
Yeah.
Back.
The first one I'm gonna pick though is one that makes me cry every time they do it, and that's the Iowa wave.
Yeah.
Great
Can I
tradition.
say something controversial?
Oh no.
Yes,
Yeah, go for
please.
it.
You don't like the Iowa wave?
No, I
you're
love it.
you're
I love
gonna
it.
get canceled.
No, I love it. I love it. I just don't know if I can label that a tradition. It's like 3 years old. It's a
It's older than
fledgling
that.
tradition.
Yeah, it's
I
a
think
new
it's-
hospital. That's a new hospital.
I don't know if it is older than that, Clint. I think it's like
No, it's
3,
not.
4
No,
years.
it's like
3 years.
literally 3 or 4 years old.
Because I went back and I was like, how old is that? How long they've been doing
No,
that?
I
It's
remember
like,
when
it
they
was
first started-
organized via Facebook page. I was like, okay.
Should I pick a different one?
No,
No,
no, that's
you
you're
can
locked
pick that
in.
one.
It needs to be included. That is
No,
a
it's.
great
I think
tradition.
at this point you could consider it a tradition.
It
'cause
is now.
They've done it like 24 times.
2017. That's when it.
That's not that old. That's a baby
Yeah.
tradition.
Okay. Well, I have an Oklahoma one. I'm gonna save it for the end though. And do I get another pick after this?
Should
Yeah,
we
you
do
get one
4?
more after this. Yeah, we're doing
Okay.
4 rounds.
All right.
Then I'm gonna go jump around Wisconsin.
Ooh,
I think
good one.
that's got to be up there.
I had that on my list.
I've never gone and done that, but I've heard it's like an incredible experience every time it happens. And the fact that they do it every single game, I think is awesome.
I actually just
Stadium
remembered we're only
shakes
doing
allegedly,
3,
too.
but honorable
That's fine.
mentions. How
We'll
about
do
that?
honorable mentions.
Yeah, honorable mention.
I could do like an entire snake draft on Oklahoma football traditions, but
All right.
Seats being too tiny at the stadium. That's a good one.
My 3rd round pick. I
How do you not
think
have
I
it?
will go with the Penn State whiteout game.
See, I didn't pick that one because Penn State's a disgusting institution. That's the one I
is,
almost picked. I
but-
I just can't even be involved with it.
I judge it by the night they do it.
Nope.
Nothing else. Just
I
that
judge the
night.
school. I judge the school and its administration as a whole for activities performed for 20 years.
All right, all 3 of you have been canceled today. I'm still clean.
No, Clint, rightfully so. He's a sicko.
All right, Parker. Is it you?
It is cool though.
Yeah.
So,
It's
all
very
right,
cool.
I've got several here that I'll say. Okay, I'll go with. Man, I'm gonna go with Toomer's Corner. Rolling Toomer's Corner. I think that's pretty neat. But I also mainly said it because I wanted to talk about when Auburn thought they'd won that Final Four game and went ran
prematurely.
and prematurely rolled Toomer's Corner. That was amazing. So really cool tradition. Looks cool. You know, the pictures of Toomer's Corner getting rolled, those trees. As long as, you know, Harvey Updike isn't
Shout out
within
Harvey Updike.
range. I think he's dead now, actually. So
Wait,
I don't
what?
think. Yeah, I think he died last year.
Oh my god.
For those that
that's
don't
right.
remember, this nut job Alabama fan.
Hey,
I should respect him. He's dead.
don't
Okay.
speak ill on the dead.
He
Yeah, come on.
he
He's
poisoned.
passionate.
Yeah, that is passion.
And there goes
Poisoning
Parker.
Poisoning the Toomer's Corner's trees.
The best part was him calling into Feinbaum and being like, you know, those trees they got down there. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I poisoned them. And they're like, everybody's like, oh my god, you poisoned the tree.
He got
He
like
actually
in
did,
trouble
though.
with federal officers for admitting to a crime on the Feinbaum show.
Yeah, that guy was something else. Pretty intense.
He's not the only criminal.
That was in the
calling
middle
into
of
that
the
show.
Cam Newton stuff, though. He was so mad about Scam Newton, as they called him, that he just like took matters into his own hands.
It had to have been right around there with the title under
Yeah.
Chiswick with Newton.
All right, really finish it off, Mr. Irrelevant.
God, there's 2 here that I'm gonna go with Dixieland Delight.
That was what I was deciding between.
Bryant Denny.
Great one.
It was either that or dotting the I, the Ohio State marching band. I
Yeah,
think that's
I had
really
that
cool.
No, you made
Like,
the right choice. Dotting the
No,
I
I did.
is
No, I think
overrated.
dotting the I is cool because it's like a big deal to be the person that gets to do it.
I actually, for the first time seeing it live in Norman, it is pretty cool. Like,
The Texas
Oh,
A&M
they do it
band,
on the road.
Texas A&M band is
Yeah.
better, by the way.
I remember
Oh,
seeing it.
I do 100% agree with that. But
All right, George, what's your honorable mention?
Well, we didn't get a whole lot of animals in there. I feel like we missed out on like
Ralphie,
Yeah, Ralphie.
Ralphie. I mean, the Sooner Schooner is one that always pops up on these type of lists. What's the Bulldog's name?
Uga.
Uga.
Uga. You got Bevo, the Eagle in Auburn.
Yeah.
which is so random. Still, I've heard the story and it still just makes no sense.
The one that I also like, I don't think a lot of people would think of because no one's probably ever been to one of their games, but apparently Air Force has an awesome tradition where like they have like a falcon like fly around the stadium before the game, and it's like very, very cool. But my Oklahoma ones were like very specific that people would be like, you're an idiot for choosing these. But like when they come out to Who You Wit for warmups by Little John and the East Side Boys, that song always gives you a little bit of juice. And then when the marching band, my friends thought I was an idiot, but like I always love the marching band when they come out and they like play the drums real quick and they're like da 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 da.
Yeah,
and then it like goes right in. And like when I was a freshman in college, so I grew up, I was one of those people that me and my family, we'd get to the game like an hour or two early to watch warmups. Like that's how much we loved going to the games. So when I was a freshman, my buddies, I of course was like, we got to go. And they're like, no, we're not getting there till like right before kickoff.
That
like,
drives me mad.
I was like, I got to watch the band. I was like, I have to watch the band. And the Pride of Oklahoma is like not a good band. Like they're like a very average band, but like when you grow up on it, like, and you know all the songs, it's like, I love
it's
that
part of it. Yeah. Like that like adds to the atmosphere is knowing what the band's going to play. And like,
we also missed on, I'm looking at this Bleacher Report list. We missed Sandstorm, South Carolina.
The Vautech one too.
Yeah.
Dude, that's another one. Like that's a cool tradition, but Virginia Tech sucks.
Yeah.
I've never
understood. Yeah, no, that's not a cool enough program to be. Like,
I've never understood
I think it's
Virginia Tech lore. I don't get them. Like they had Mike Vick once upon a time and a legendary coach, but like they stink. They've never won a national title in any sport ever.
I'm surprised no one went with Texas being back.
I almost did.
That's an older tradition than the Wave.
That's true. It's very true. Another quick OU tradition is that first bell before that intro video. It's like dong.
Dude, they need to bring back the old school like 2005 to 2012 intro videos.
I was a kid, I watched those on YouTube all the time.
Yeah, I do too, dude. They're awesome.
So when I was looking up traditions, have you guys ever heard of the Army Navy prisoner exchange? Apparently there's I guess like West Point cadets and naval midshipmen, they trade like a group of them for the semester and they exchange them back at the Army Navy game. That's like they're coming back to their academy. And I guess it's like a big ceremony. It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of intro songs, OSU in like 2013 or something, maybe 2012, like after like Whedon, like 1 year after Whedon, tried to introduce this song called Cowboys Forever as like the intro song. It was the worst intro song and video because you know how they do that. You tell them I'm coming, hell's coming with. That's like what they do every time now. They don't mess with that. Cowboys Forever like changed. It was that, and then Cowboys Forever like a year, and they realized it's the worst song they've ever made, so they took it away.
Who like was this made for OSU? This song?
Yeah. I
sang
gotta see if I can find. I don't even know, dude. It was so bad.
Nothing beats that.
They made
the Missouri music video when they went to the SEC.
Yeah. Let me see if I don't even know if the videos exist of the Cowboys Forever, but it was so bad. OSU fans all hated it. Like, basically got deleted.
Another good tradition is OSU claiming national titles that they didn't win.
Wait, hey, other schools do that. OU does that.
No, OU doesn't.
OU would
have like 17 if OU claims.
No, OU does.
No, they're all Associated Press national titles, all 7 of them.
Look, they asked us if we wanted to buy it. Do you really think OU brass was gonna or OSU brass is gonna say no?
The fact that they put it on the stadium,
but that's what
I do agree. Putting it on the stadium is lame. I'd rather it say the solo Big 12 champion.
That's what makes OSU is that they would pay for a national championship like that. We got that happened, 80 years ago.
That Army team was soft. Kick their ass,
bro. You going after the troops?
Bob Fenimore. I think that's who's on that team. Don't cancel for what? We're talking football, not troops.
Future United States veterans.
Yeah, they strapped their helmets on same way our guys did. We would have won. I know it.
No straps back then. Just put on that leather.
Exactly.
Oh, last honorable mention that I'll mention is just waking up on Saturday morning to watch College Game Day.
Yeah.
You know what would be another good one? And now that he's changed networks, it doesn't have the same effect, but the Tom Rinaldi like tearjerker
those
stories.
Are brutal.
I mean, like I haven't watched the Fox pregame shows much, so like I don't know. Yeah. So
they might have to. Fox needs to lengthen the show so they can do the long ones like ESPN does. When you have an hour or whatever, not as much time to get some Rinaldi in there.
I also had on my list Urban Meyer getting sick after a bad season or something bad going wrong. That was on my list.
That's a good one.
Because it's happened everywhere. I don't know about Utah. I'm not old enough for that, but he always has some ailment.
That is for sure. All right. Well, that's enough for today. George, really, really appreciate you coming on. Was this your third appearance or second?
I think second.
Second, yeah.
Okay, so you're the second recurring guest we've had.
You and Eddie. And Eddie Ratto.
Eddie. Eddie's my guy, man.
Yeah.
I told him we need to do I did an Instagram live last night with Joe Castiglione Jr.
I watched a little bit of it. It was great.
Yeah, we were on there for like 2 hours. I guess next week he's having Eddie on. So
I got on there at the beginning, and one of you got, I think Joe said, P Biggs, like, we got to get him on. And I just gotten out of the shower. And I left immediately. I was like, nah, I'm good.
The people have loved it.
It's a pleasure, guys.
George, do they make shirts that say Broncos Country Let's Ride on them?
Oh my God.
I need that. I love that video.
I'm sure they're out there. I have the video queued up, and I'm gonna just like tweet it every time.
Blast it anytime.
Like anytime they score a touchdown, I'm just like, Broncos Country, let's ride.
I found an Instagram account. It was legitimately 300 posts of nothing but the same video, Broncos Country.
I always thought like it was kind of like an act for him to be that corny. Like now talking to him and like he's genuinely just like a total cornball.
I think he's hilarious. Like the video of him running a huddle when he was hurt last year, he was like doing a huddle,
handing off to no one.
Running plays by himself. He's awesome.
He's wild, man. He's a weirdo for sure.
Seems like such a nice dude though.
He is. Yeah, like he's genuinely like a good
he's
guy.
He's like tough to root against because like he just seems so genuine.
Yeah.
No doubt. All right, George, thank you for joining us. As always, follow us on social media. We're updated. Yeah, subscribe on YouTube. That's the main thing. If you still are using Apple, Spotify, like, rate, subscribe on there. Follow us on social media. We're at Fifth Year Podcast on all platforms. We have a TikTok now, so we'll try that out. We'll see how that works. We've entered the new era of social media. So once again, thanks, George. Everyone have a good week.